Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be a double review of the Star Wars The Black Series, Star Wars The Clone Wars version of Darth Maul and Aayla Secura from Attack of the Clones. Very excited to finally have these figures. I've been waiting for these for a good while, ever since the pre-orders dropped sometime last year. I think either the spring or summertime. I was hoping to get these before the end of 2022, but we have them for the beginning, which is fine. I think a lot more people have been getting them in the beginning of this year lately. Some people got them at the very end of the year. And these are the last of the inbox, window packages, I guess, with this series here. Now they're transitioning to the windowless, unfortunately. But they look good in their window boxes. You can see here, both figures in the box. It does say Star Wars The Black Series right there. Maybe zoom in just a little bit right there. Then we get down to the bottom. You can see where it says Star Wars The Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones, as well as the characters' names. I can focus up there. They do have the warnings and choking hazards. They each have their own colors for whichever installment of Star Wars we have here. As you can see on the side, it just has Star Wars The Black Series on the bottom. And again, those respective colors. So backing up a little bit, I wish I had a better way of doing this, but you can see, these aren't going to match perfectly, but side by side here you have these really nice illustrations that go into this gradient of the colors there. I'm really digging what we got, because you can see the Mandalore throne room right there, as well as Geonosis. Then you have towards the bottom right there. All of that is really sick, and then you have the back of the packaging right here. You can pause and read that really quick if you want. Multilingual read-ups for that. Because they Star Wars The Black Series. Again, the characters, images, basically like the front there. Number 11 for Darth Maul for the Clone Wars stuff, and number 3 for the Attack of the Clone stuff for Aayla Secura. And I am going to go ahead and grab the barcodes here. So, this one here is going to be for Darth Maul. Let's focus up there. You could pause and screenshot that if you need to get that barcode. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you Aayla Secura's right here. Let's go ahead and get these figures out of the packaging. Here are both figures out of the packaging. These are really well done. Very happy with these. If these came out in 2022, these would be at the top of the list, because it was no secret that 2022 wasn't my favorite year when it comes to the Black Series line. But nonetheless, these figures are really sick. Not perfect, but we'll get there when we get there. Let's take a look at Maul first. We'll take a look at his accessories, then we'll take a look at Aayla Secura. Now, you can't have a Darth Maul without the signature two-sided lightsaber pieces. Come on now. These are really nice looking. First of all, let's take a look at the translucent red plastic we have here. We get a lot of translucent plastic in this line with the lightsabers, and they've been doing it pretty good a majority of the time throughout the decade they've been working on this line, and no exception here. Looking really good. I really like the lightsaber hilts. These are fantastic in a silver paint, a little bit of a matte black paint in there, some red notches painted on there. This piece that sticks out we'll talk about in a second. Very nice looking. I like this lightsaber here too. It looks like the saber piece might look a little crooked right now. You can kind of fix that, but these do break. I don't know if anyone doesn't believe that out there, but eventually, if you mess around with these do eventually break, of course. It seems like common knowledge. It doesn't happen that often, though, but when they're usually really crooked out of the packaging, it's not too bad here, but that's kind of a sign that it's not the greatest, unfortunately. This, though, is really nice. We do have a hole at the bottom here. You just plug that in like so, and it's not like, a specific type of size for the pegs. You can really rotate this around as much as you want. It's not like a certain shape, so it's fixed. But yeah, I'm digging that. Let's back out. If I could try to get the entire span. Yeah, the entire span of this thing. That's sick. I'm really digging that a lot. Okay, yeah, I think I showed that. Definitely showed it with this one. So weapon storage for this guy is a little difficult because there's no notch on this lightsaber here, but with this one, I believe you can see, right here on the belt piece. If I could back out a little bit. So it looks like there's a tiny bit of a hole, and I'm not sure if you're really supposed to jab that in there or slot it in like this. Geez, either way, trying to get it in here is a little difficult, and then you kind of wants to warp. And if you do get it in there, it will eventually with very little force pop out, unfortunately. So I don't really know if this is an actual working system here. Something I wanted to show off. So I have the previously released Apprentice version of Darth Maul on the left. I don't have the 2013 version with me right now. I don't know where that is at the moment. I have it somewhere. But I just wanted to compare these head sculpts because I thought they would be reused a little bit, but they are completely new. It looks like the head towards the top looks a little bit longer, actually. This looks a little bit rounder, just a tiny bit wider. You can actually tell, the difference in the sculpt with the teeth there. A lot more teeth exposed on this compared to this, where it's almost has a curled lip. I thought the chest would be reused, but it is different. This vest piece gets in the way a little bit. But the pecs on the Apprentice version stick out a little bit. They're protruding outward a little bit, and then they're a little bit wider. So, a lot of new tooling here. Pretty much completely brand new figure, which is nice to see. Sometimes they'll reuse just a little bit, depending on, clones, of course. But it's a pretty appropriate amount of reuse with this line compared to, like, Marvel Legends. This head sculpt is fantastic. I love how the eyes came through. The markings, the red mixing in with the black, all of that is fantastic. Even a little bit of paint in the teeth there. You can see a little bit of the black plastic, but yeah, it looked pretty hard to see it. I think there might be some imperfections if you see the red on the forehead there. There's a little bit of black bleeding through that I don't think is supposed to be part of the markings. These spikes, they're a little bit of a softer plastic, but they are a little spiky, so be careful with that. The ears are nicely sculpted. A little bit of a red splotch there. This is a fantastic head sculpt overall, though. There's not much going on with the neck, though. It's just some muscles sculpted in there. It's just a one-tone black. So the chest, you can see some of the markings here. Pretty decent red paint going on. Of course, this looks different, of course, compared to what we have here. I think this is a comic version, so I don't mind if it looks a little bit different here. The red mixed into the black again with those markings on the chest. All that looks fantastic. They have actually a little bit of leather texture in the shoulder pad here and on this one as well, which likes to be off center for some reason. But the texturing on this part, chest up to the shoulders and towards the back, could be a little bit better. Same thing with the brown here. They separate the brown and the black pretty well, but the sculpt is a little bit soft. Well, same thing here on the sides here. It's not too bad. You can see a little bit of separation of black and brown plastic, which looks a little odd for that joint. And then we have some wrinkles in the forearms. The biceps too. These bracers, the silver paint on the bracers that's really sick. That is very clean. I don't think there's any mismatched paint on there. A little bit of knuckles sculpted on the gloves here, looking rather nice. Looking at the other side here, and you can see, again, silver on those bracers. Really nice metallic silver. Not too much, of course, but still a pretty good amount. Done pretty accurately, I'd say. Then we have a little bit of silver going all the way around the waistband here with these different pieces. The yellow and the blue on there looking really good too. That's really clean. And there's some small parts here that they need to paint silver, so they did that well. There's where that notch would be, I guess. Going all the way in the back. A little bit of silver on the waistband there. A little unfortunate, but it's not too bad. Just very tiny little skirt piece here, so that doesn't get in the way too much. The sides here with the brown are a little bit of a stiffer plastic, I'd say. The back here is also pretty stiff plastic. It's not much going on, just one seam line going all the way down the Maul butt. I don't know why I'm so goofy. You can see the front there too. Like, I guess these pouches are pockets right here. It's mostly just a molded brown color here, but a little bit of wrinkles in these sculpted pockets in the front. What I really want to talk about, backing out a little bit, are the legs. These look great. Now, they're not perfect when it comes to the metallic paint because some parts look just like a very basic gray, but then you get to the sides, and these are pretty decent metallic silver. Same thing around the knees. That looks great. And even then, it looks a little bit pearlized like some Marvel Legends figures in the knees, but it doesn't actually look that bad in some of the lighting either. all the different inner workings of how this is done. I love how these legs came out. These are really sick. It looks like we have a little bit of a splotch right there. So a bit of an imperfection. Few imperfections on this figure, unfortunately, but stuff that I personally can live with. These ankles were a little bit stiff out of the packaging, so be careful. I would go ahead and put these in hot water. I would even try to remove the actual foot if it's safe at all. This one is a little bit stiff, but I didn't have to heat this one up. This one needed to be heated up though, so just a word of warning to you guys. The actual feet, they look really good. Again, a little bit of like, I guess, something going on in the actual plastic here that I don't think is supposed to be there. Same thing here. But that's what the bottom of the feet look like. Nothing too spectacular. This is a really nicely done figure when it comes to details and all that new tooling. Pretty good articulation with the Black Series lately, especially since they've redone some of the articulation compared to previous years. I think they started doing that in like 2020. So, real quick, a ball, like a dumbbell joint at the head, but we also have a ball joint going into the body at the neck. So it's actually not the greatest range of motion at the actual, neck and head ball joint, but combined with that neck joint going down is really nice. Up could still be a little bit better. I haven't popped off the head all night. I might have to heat that up. But the swiveling is fine. You can maybe grab the neck and it can swivel a little bit too. And then side to side is really nice. And again, I'm pressing down not too hard, but it doesn't hurt too bad. We have a little bit of a butterfly joint going forward and back. Arms can go all the way around here, and then these separate, rotation. These pieces are interdependent, these shoulder pads. This is as far out as they want to go. A little bit tight on my figure. Swivel at the elbow, a hinge at the elbow. It looks a little unnatural. It's doesn't really fit together the way that bends. And then you swivel that, going from here to here. It's not too bad. We have a swivel and a hinge at the wrist. It goes up and down. I believe this is for both hands. I think there's actually a separate ball joint going on in here, but you can't really move it too much. You mostly get it at the actual waist. So the forward motion could be better and the back could be better, but the swiveling and side to side is fine. Well, this actually isn't that great. Legs couldn't go outward that much. The back, actually, it could be a little bit better, but not too bad. Almost perfect splits, upper thigh swivel, single joint knee that gets just about 90, almost 90, and it actually swivels there. And then for some reason I wish they had it has double knee, but it doesn't. It's accurate though. The down like that, and then up, and then ankle rocker. Moving on to the lightsaber for Aayla Secura here. Again, pretty basic in its approach with the Black Series stuff, which isn't a bad thing. We have this blue translucent plastic for the saber piece, and the detailing is pretty nice in the lightsaber hilt here. A little bit of a gold paint app right there. It's mostly painted in this metallic silver, and it does look pretty good. Very basic features, of course. If I could pull it out without damaging it somehow, I have to do it off camera just to be safe. Yeah, popping that out so it can be an unlit, lightsaber. She does have a hole right here on her side. You just line the peg with the peg hole. That fits in there much better than the Darth Maul one. Move it around a little too much and it will, fall out, of course. But if you have her just standing there with this, it will just stay in there just fine. So I don't remember the name of the actress who plays Aayla Secura. I don't remember a lot of the actors who play certain Jedi, unfortunately. I don't think I've ever learned their names. But, this is based on a real person, a real scan, I assume. Since this is from Attack of the Clones. And that face printing, which Maul had it too, but this face printing on here is really nicely done. It almost looks like she has a little bit of eyeshadow around her eyes, and the eye color is really nice. Lip color too. Eyebrows are really nicely done. Whatever this headpiece is, all this looks really good as well. It looks like, I'm trying to see, I think, I guess these would be her ears. These blue pieces are actually part of the, I can't tell because this is glued in there. I think that's actually part of the sculpt of the headband, so it's not like there's holes right here where they slot these in. These head tail pieces, I never remember exactly what they're called either, but they have a little bit of brown wrapping around there. The brown, it's decently sculpted. There's not much else to it. A little bit of wrinkles here and there, but also the paint is just kind of a very basic brown there. Kind of the same thing going on, with whatever's going on around here, all around the head tails too. Well, that looks nice. Pretty consistent blue skin tone throughout the whole figure. So I believe we have a molded blue skin tone up here, and of course in the arms, and then this is actually painted blue, where it's still, pretty consistent. I say that because, so that side's not that visible, but here it's a little bit ugly, unfortunately. You see the brown there. I don't know why this isn't honestly just a blue mold here. I think the lower part of her torso is molded brown. That's why her stomach is, I guess, also molded in a brown color there. Really should have just been molded in blue, honestly. We have her top here, which has actually some pretty decent sculpting. A little bit of like almost leather around here too, but again, it's just mostly in a basic brown. It looks like this is a little bit of a glossier brown compared to this a little bit more matte brown, but still blends in decently. I really only notice it right now because of all these lights I have on here. You have this large arm cover all the way around on the left, and you even have a little bit of sculpting in the elbow joint there. That's pretty sick. What the bottom looks like. Hands, they're decently sculpted as well. There's not much going on to them. There's a little bit of a speck in there. And then you have this one here too. Looks like a little bit of a separation in between the middle and ring finger. Separation between the index and middle finger there. They actually sculpted a belly button there too. There's not much on the back, just normal sculpting of anatomy for the back of someone's stomach and abdomen. Then we have this slight skirt piece. This flap right here is a softer plastic, a darker brown mixed in with a lighter brown that has a little bit of leather details on there. I think so that pegs in so it doesn't fall out. These pieces are softer plastic, so you can move these around just a little bit, but they'll keep its original pose. You can maybe heat these up and move them around if you really wanted to. Already talked about the hole there on the front of the of this skirt piece, loincloth, what do you want to call it? I don't really know exactly. Similar to the back, there's a darker brown mixed in with a little bit of lighter brown, a little bit of brown. I keep saying brown. I should say leather detailing there. Now the legs, it's all just this one smooth brown sculpt. In fact, it looks a little bit glossier in the hip joint compared to the rest of the leg. We do have the double jointed knees on this figure, which is nice. Glad about that. I don't know if this is being reused from particular figures. In the Black Series line, they usually retool a lot of it. Sometimes, ever so slightly, they will reuse. And a lot of times we get single joint knees. I don't remember even the last time we had a double jointed elbow, but double joint knee too. They've been doing a lot of single joints. Even Maul has single joint knees. So it's cool, which isn't always a bad thing, but it's cool that we do have double joint knees on this character. Now the brown for the boots also is a little bit lackluster. There's really just this one molded color of brown with a little bit of brown, some leather in here to bring out that brown. But it's just mostly a slightly glossy brown plastic and a little bit of wrinkling towards the ankles and in front of the shins. Her boots do look really nice. The overall sculpt is really decent. Some latches on here, looking pretty good. That's what the bottom of the feet look like. So, it might seem a bit basic in some areas, but that's kind of this character's design. I think they captured a lot of details for Aayla Secura, pretty well. Articulation is a little bit limited on this character, not super limited, but what I mean is we have a dumbbell joint going up in here. You can actually see it's about to pop out. It's actually like a peg almost going into the neck. The side to side is decent. The swiveling is a little too loose for my liking. The down motion, it's kind of being forced off a little bit, but it works a little bit. And then the up motion is, because the head tails is a bit non-existent. There is a bit of a butterfly joint here, but it's not really budging too much on my figure. Arms do go all the way around. This has far out as it goes. Not too bad, I don't think. We have a swivel at the elbow, a single joint elbow that bends just a little bit over 90. Up and down hinge for both hands, and then a swivel there. Ball jointed waist. I do wish, more of these characters wouldn't just have a ball jointed waist and actually had like a bit of an ab crunch. with that, but the back motion is pretty good. The forward motion just doesn't really get that much. Side to side, I think going left is better than right actually on my figure. And then rotation, you know, it breaks up a little bit. Like, it looks a little unnatural, but, you know, you get that rotation. Legs go outward that much. Back, in and out, almost perfect splits. Upper thigh swivel, you do get double jointed knee, I should say. I was supposed to say elbow. We also have a boot swivel, up and down hinge here. Actually not bad when it comes to up. And then we do have a bit of an ankle rocker in here. For quick size comparisons and measurements, looks like we're getting pretty close to 15.5 to 16 centimeters for both figures. I think Maul is actually a little bit shorter than Aayla, and we're looking at pretty close to 6.25 inches here. So as you can see over on the left, we have a normal size Marvel Legends Retro Collection Spidey there, which is going to be a little bit taller scale compared to Black Series figures. And both of the new ones in the middle fit pretty well in scale, I think, with that first ever Black Series Mando over there. Overall, I am pretty pleased with both of these figures. I think the Black Series team did a pretty great job this time around. I've been a little indifferent, I think, on the Black Series line as of late, but I really think that these are standouts here. They did a really great job on these. Maul especially is really sick with all those different details. The new tooling on this figure. Articulation is a little bit hindered, but the lightsabers are really sick, and it's just a really fun figure. Very glad to have this particular version of Maul. Same thing with Aayla Secura. I didn't think I was going to like this figure that much, honestly, but she's pretty good. She has a little bit of a leg up in some areas compared to Maul with this particular figure. The lightsaber is also really nice here. Pretty great details, but the paint apps aren't all great, in my opinion. Decent articulation, though. Both of these are very nice figures. 25 bucks, yeah, seems a little steep, but I do think at this point it is a little bit worth it. Maybe wait for a sale to get it to 20, maybe even less than that. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about these figures, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.